Hi, I'm Kelly Reddy, and I'm with Unity Catholic Federal Credit Union, and today we're going to talk about budgeting. So let me share my screen. Okay. So the first thing I like to do is to review the documents that are available on our website. It's unitycatholiccu.org. This first one is just a 1-minute financial quiz to see where you are now in, building a budget. Help you set some goals. So this is to actually write down your goals. So short term, medium term, and long term are all really important items in building your budget. And writing down your goals helps you to stay focused on them so that you can achieve them. This is a nice tracking sheet. It's called the Where Does Your Money Go? And when building a budget, keeping track of every penny that goes out over, even if it's just a couple weeks, ideally you want to do this for a month or more so that you can really see what your spending trends are, so that you can find extra money in your budget to allocate towards the things that you need. And then this is a cash flow statement. All of these we'll be referencing later throughout the seminar. And then your personal action plan. What do you want to do? Like I said before, writing down your goals helps you to achieve them. Okay, so here we are. Build a basic budget, the 5-step spending plan. So the things we're going to talk about are understanding how to set up the spending plan, identifying spending leaks, which is a huge help, tracking spending, and some ways to do that. Setting goals, auditing our progress, and then revising our goals to meet our ongoing changing goals. And then using financial tools. So where are you? Now's the time that you might want to take a look at that 1-minute quiz, because it's important to know where you are financially and to be honest with yourself. No change can happen if we don't get to know ourselves a little bit better and be honest with ourselves. Okay, so these are things that you're going to want to ask yourself so that you can be honest with yourself. So are you spending more than you make? Are you living beyond your means? Do you pay yourself last? I'm sure that we've probably all heard the term pay yourself first, but that's really hard to do when kids need shoes, got to put food on the table. But you do yourself a disservice by not making saving a priority, even if it's just a little bit out of every pay. So are you charging items instead of saving for them? Experiencing that, happiness that we feel from instant gratification. Do you have an emergency fund, or do you just think about it? And are you spending uncontrollably? There's no shame in any of this. I've been there, I've done it, and now I'm working my plan, and I do feel a sense of relief that I know myself, I know my spending habits, and I'm taking charge of where my money goes and making smarter choices than I have in the past. Okay, so again, benefits of managing your money. It frees up time so that you can do stuff you enjoy instead of always juggling the bills. Who am I going to pay now? What am I going to do later? That can be very stressful. So when you free up that time, it leads to less stress, which gives you better health, a better satisfaction and peace of mind because you're in control of the situation. One of the things that is important when setting our goals is that we set SMART goals. So that means that it's specific, measurable, adjustable, realistic, and time-oriented. When we hit all of these pieces in setting our goals, then it keeps us accountable and we can work on it every day. So the SMART goal sheet that I referenced earlier gave you a place to set short-term goals, so that's anything within the next 6 months. Intermediate, which would be within the next 1 to 5 years, and then long-term, more than 5 years away. So short-term might be, setting up an emergency fund, really kind of focusing on that so that you can control your spending. Maybe intermediate is, planning a vacation, a family vacation. Maybe you have a large purchase that you need to do. Maybe you've got a kid going away to college in the next couple years and you really want to get focused on getting your goals met. And then long term, that's more than 5 years. So depending on how old you are, where your family is now, that might be buying a house. It might be sending your kid to college. It can be a variety of things because we're all in different stages of our life. So we budget for our short-term goals, we save for those medium-term goals, and we invest for long-term goals. We're going to focus most of our time together today on budgeting and saving, but we'll touch a little bit on investing. Okay, so our first thing is to review our spending plan. And it starts with evaluating what your income is and what your expenses are. I think it's really helpful to put this down on paper and, list out all of our income. So what's coming in? Is it a paycheck? Do you get a bonus? Does someone else in the household work? Do you have, maybe you have a rental income, whatever it is, write it all down. And it helps to do that both on a monthly basis and on an annual basis. And then our expenses. So don't just focus on those day-to-day expenses or just on our household expenses, but take it all into account. And this is where that day-to-day tracking of where your money is going is going to really help you come up with a solid spending plan. I like the word spending plan rather than a budget because a budget feels so restrictive, but when you create a plan and you try to stick to it. Okay, so like a reference to the where does your money go? This is probably the hardest step, at least for me, was to really write down everything our money was going to. Now, you could do that a couple different ways. You could write it down in like a ledger, keep it with you, little notebook. Maybe you use your debit card for everything. So really, instead of just looking at the statement or online, write those items down so that you categorize them, that this was eating out, this was, personal expenses, this was, utilities, whatever the case might be. I think that writing them down and not just looking at them really enforces where your money is going. When you know where your money is going, it helps you to develop that savings plan and control your future finances. So the 5 steps to a successful plan are listing all your income sources. Maybe you get a quarterly bonus. You want to include that, but you want to know where you're going to have those kind of peaks and valleys of income, and so that you can prepare for them. You're going to determine where your money goes. So that's both your fixed and your variable expenses. Fixed is something that does not change, maybe a car payment, house or rent payment. Often insurance doesn't change. So variable expenses are gas for the car. 1 week it's $1, 89, and the next week it's $2.25. So it's really important to kind of come up with like maybe an average, and understand that right now in the pandemic, we are experiencing kind of lower costs on gas because people aren't traveling as much. But one day things will go back to normal, I am sure, and maybe gas prices will skyrocket again. Be prepared. You're going to balance your income and your expenses, and you're going to review them and communicate. Communicating with your partner is so important, because everyone needs to know what the plan is so that we can all work together to achieve it. And then I'm going to refer to this managing your system often, because things change. We're in a constant, state of change. And what we planned for at the beginning of the year certainly isn't what's going on right now. So we have to be open to managing that system, making changes and adjustments as needed. So step 1, listing all of our income. Talked quite a bit about this. My daughter's receives, a pretty hefty gift every year. So, she shouldn't count on it, but she does kind of count on it. So she counts that as income, and she knows that she'll be able to take care of things at certain places, certain times of the year. Tax refunds. Well, nobody is guaranteed a tax refund. If you consistently receive, a couple $1,000s as your refund every year, then, maybe you can plan to use those funds to pay off something, or, put it into your emergency fund, that kind of thing. So determining our monthly expenses. Fixed, again, like your mortgage, your car payment, things that are the same month to month. Flexible things are food, clothes, utilities, gifts. It's awesome to be able to plan for those gifts. If you celebrate Christmas, then you want to be able to, enjoy and give gifts if that's what you do, and have a plan for it, so you're not digging yourself into debt when that holiday rolls around. I have a couple months in my family that are birthday heavy, so I plan ahead for those as well. And then we have our periodic payments. So maybe that's taxes, maybe it's real estate taxes or insurance. Sometimes you get a discount if you pay all at one time, or quarterly, semi-annually, whatever the case might be. It's great to take advantage of those discounts, and knowing when those are going to happen so that you can plan ahead is the key to making that work. So our expenses are broken down into a couple different categories. We've got our necessities. These are the things that we need to take care of. So housing, food, utilities, insurance, medical, debt, taxes, all of those things are must-haves. We have to take care of them. Then we've got our discretionary, or I like to refer to those as our wants. And I love this. It's not necessary for survival. It just makes our everyday life maybe more comfortable because we can, go on vacation, go to the movies every once in a while, maybe a special outfit from now and then. You've got your personal expenses, and I don't like to have to stick to any one way of thinking. So I have personal funds that I don't have to track. Sometimes I'll keep some cash at home, so when the kid comes door to door, I can buy his little box of candy or whatever the case might be. I don't have to account for that. I've set that money aside, and it just kind of gives you a little bit of wiggle room in your monthly expenses. And always remember to plan for those miscellaneous. These are those unplanned expenses. So you might want to establish a savings fund for those. And you don't want to put all of your expenses into that miscellaneous, because we want to know where our money is going. If we just throw it in the miscellaneous, then it kind of becomes a little loosey-goosey. Some different ways to track your spending are the receipt method. So you keep all your receipts, you write it down so that you can compare. The envelope method, this is kind of a little bit of a older philosophy, but it works great. When we cleaned out my husband's grandmother's house after she had passed, we found envelopes, and they were labeled, food, groceries, just savings. And if you've ever had to clean out an older person's home, sometimes you'll find, a little cash tucked in here, tucked in there. You should always know where your cash is. You don't want to throw it away by mistake. A checkbook register is a great way to keep track of spending, an account book, maybe a computer program. I use a mobile app, and I love it. It gives me lots of categories to kind of put my spending into, and it really has helped me get control of my spending and know when we're spending too much in any one area, and have to kind of spread the word that, hey, don't order from Amazon every day. We can't afford that. And where does your money go? So if you're a smoker, you know that a good part of your income is going to that. But if you write it down and you add it up at the end of the week and you're like, oh, I didn't realize I was spending that much, it can be a great way for you to cut back or quit. I would wish you so much luck with that. Maybe you stop for coffee often. All of these little things, well, individually are not, we all have our things that we want to do, but if we're doing them every single day and we're allocating funds that we don't have towards those every single day indulgences, then we need to track those so that we know where they're at. When my husband and I went through this process, we discovered we were eating way too much ice cream, and not just buying ice cream at the grocery store. No, we were going out for ice cream, drive-thrus, and not only did it not do much for our waistlines, but it really hurt our budget. So we cut that out so that we could spend those funds on something not fattening. However you decide to track your spending, communicate it. Everybody needs to be on the same page, and it's a great opportunity for you to have an honest discussion with kids as well. Kids need to know that our budget has a limit, that the income has a limit, that we're not just saying no because we want to be mean to them, which is what they think, they're crazy. but that, you know, we have certain obligations. You don't have to be specific in like what your income is and what your expenses are, but an age-appropriate conversation about the limits of a budget are very helpful. So our balance, balancing income and expenses. This is the cash flow statement that we talked about early. So you're going to balance those things. If you have too many expenses for your income, then you know you need to make some cutbacks. You've got more income than expenses, then you can save more and plan for that. So when we're doing our cash flow statement, this could be, where did our money go last year? Where did it go last month? I think it's nice to do a year-to-year comparison, but I live a little bit more in the moment, and I really track like month to month. Whatever works for you is what you should do. So we're going to track our money coming in, we're going to track our money going out, and we're going to compare them. So that might look like this. So this is an annual look at a cash flow statement. This example shows the salary, savings that we used, so that they took it from savings, they used it on something, so they took that out. They've got their tax refund in there, they've got gifts that they accumulated throughout the year, and that total income is now a tiny bit over $40,000. So now they're taking all of that out: taxes, mortgage, groceries. That miscellaneous is over $4,000. I might want to break that out a little bit, because now I'm thinking, oh gosh, what did I spend $4,000 on last year? That I don't know. Medical is always going to be a big part. Home maintenance is something you should definitely plan for. Have a savings line so that you know that, you know, we're gonna do that. So they saved $1,200 last year, $100 a month. When you break it down into little bits, then it really makes it easier to accomplish. So the total expenses match. If they didn't account for the savings or gifts or something like that, then it would be out of whack. So write them down and you'll find out where your money's going, and it'll help you take control of that. I know that I've said this a couple times, but I'm going to say it again. Review your plan and communicate it. We want to find those places that are spending leaks, stuff that we don't necessarily need. Maybe we're just accustomed to paying it. Maybe this is a subscription and you're not using that anymore. Cancel it. Don't just, you know, account for it in your budget. Get rid of it. Use that money for something else. And then as our goals change, you want to make your plan fit that. Some things that could impact your spending plan is an emergency. Who doesn't get the occasional emergency? We don't plan to break a leg or be out of work for a period of time, get sick. Holidays, we have a tendency to overspend, so that can be a pitfall. Maybe you budgeted for the vacation, but you didn't anticipate that food costs were going to be so high there. So that could impact it. Repair bills. Right now, my dishwasher is kind of being a little funky. I'm YouTubing ways to fix it. I thought I got it, but I got another error code today, so I might have to call for a repair person. Auto accidents, nobody plans to be in an accident, but you've always got a deductible when you have to, you know, get your car fixed. You have to pay the deductible as well. And the higher your deductible, the lower your insurance rates are, but you got to be able to pay the deductible when it comes up. So having a lack of an emergency fund can really impact that. So I always like to say, you know, at least have, you know, $500 sitting on the side that you could take care of, an immediate emergency. Ideally, emergency funds are said to be like 3 months of your income. And that's a lot of money to save. And that can be very difficult. So again, knock it down one little bit at a time. Other things that can drain your budget, these are those leaks. So parking tickets, subscriptions that you don't use anymore. It can be easy to ignore things that need to be repaired around the house, or the car, or whatever it might be. It can be easy to push those off. But often, if we take care of it when it first happens, the cost to repair is much less. So take care of those repairs as they come up. Leftover food, try to make more conscious decisions when you are cooking and use your leftovers. So much food is thrown away, and we can really hone in on our budget for food if we pay attention to how to reuse things. How you drive your car can impact it. If you always get a late fee, you're not paying your debt on time and you get a late fee, then that can be excessive and it hurts your credit. Leaky faucets. I will tell you my leaky faucet story. So my water bill is usually around $50. 2 months ago, I got a water bill for $150. And I was like, holy cannoli, what the heck? So we went around the house, made sure everything was in good working order, went to the back of the house, and I discovered that I had the hose in the back all the way open. I thought it was all the way closed, and of course it's got the little nozzle thing on there. So it was just leaking a ton of water for a whole month. So turn your water off, turn lights off, control your impulse shopping, and try not to eat out as much. It's so much less expensive and healthier to eat at home. Okay, so everyday money saving tips: pay down debt, refinance your mortgage. Refinancing your mortgage is kind of a pain, but you can save so much money. Right now, rates are still really low. So if you're at, 6% still or more, think about refinancing. Talk to your credit union and see, what they can do to help you. Bundle insurance. Now, shopping for insurance, again, is another one of those pain things, but I was with one insurance company like from when we first got married, and last year I changed and I saved $50 a month on insurance. So it really pays to shop around and not just kind of go with the flow. It's not a fun thing, but it can really save you some money. And then use your credit cards wisely. Pay things on time so that you don't accrue extra interest or fees. Use rebates and coupons. I'm a terrible coupon person. I like to cut them, but then I forget them. So that's why there are some apps that you can do that, and you just scan your receipt. Sorry about that. Take your lunch to work. Don't go out. Don't go shopping when you're hungry, you don't have a plan, all of those things. Turn the thermostat down a little bit. Throw a sweater on. That's what I did today. Start a change jar. Now, change jars don't work so great in my house because my husband steals the quarters out of it, but people save hundreds every year by just dumping out their loose change at the end of the day. When you do that, right now my purse is pretty heavy with change. It lightens your load and it gives it a place to see how your savings is growing. And then you can use that, put it in your emergency fund, maybe you pay a bill with it, whatever the case might be. It's a great way to use that extra cash that's just, weighing you down. Okay, so some resources for saving money. Our website, so that's unitycatholiccu.org. We've got online calculators, we've got financial education. We have our partner, Trinity Debt Management, that if we can't help you get to a solution that works for you to help you reduce your debt, then Trinity Debt Management is a great resource for that. mycreditunion.gov has all kinds of financial education information based on life events and different phases that we go through. If you're just starting out, maybe you're headed into retirement, and everywhere in between. And if you're not a member of a credit union, I always encourage you to get a credit union. They're going to offer you solutions. They're your shop local financial institution, and it could be a great resource for you. yourmoneyfurther.com can help you find a credit union that's just right for you if you can't join Unity Catholic. So step 5, we've gone through all of our planning. Now we're tracking. We don't just track, when it's convenient. We track all the time. It doesn't have to be as rigorous as it was when we were setting up our plan, but that's an exercise that you're going to want to do from time to time to make sure that you haven't, created more leaks so that you can get those under control. Pay your bills regularly, have a set day maybe. Balance your checkbook. This might be just going online and making sure that everything cleared and that you wrote everything down, because when you check your balance online, through the phone, it doesn't take into account what you still have outstanding. So we don't know what you spent or when you swiped your card and it hasn't come through yet. So you need to keep track of that and be a good consumer all on your own. You want to review your goals either annually or after major life changes. So obviously, change in family status is going to affect how our budget is going to work. And does your plan still fit with your goals? If not, make some changes. We have talked about all of this. The main takeaway here is to create a plan. Thank you so much for visiting with us and going through this basic budget, the 5-step spending plan. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me. My email address is kcreddy@unitycatholiccu.org. Thanks so much. I hope that you have a great day. Take care.